Is it in focus? Yeah. Let's talk about branding. Okay, let's do something cool. Hey guys, before we get into the video, I want you to hit subscribe right here, so I guess my ego is just better. Okay, so one of the big problems in business these days is like you're chasing clients. And so everything is like outbound sales. You don't get inbound sales. And so like the inbound sales are what you want. It's just what you don't want is outbound sales. And that's like cold calling. It's like you're basically just trying to like get as many sales as you can from everywhere. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And what you want to achieve is like try to get 100% inbound sales. So I'm going to talk about branding, because that is how you're going to do it. All right, so let me tell you how I did business early back in the day, and that was outbound sales. And so what that meant was a lot of cold outreach. Cold outreach sucks. Cold calling, cold emailing, like reaching out to random ass people saying, hey, I do this thing, do you want to buy my service? And like, that's super tough because I'm getting a lot of rejection. A lot of rejection means like now I'm unhappy and now my life sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. That's what outbound sales is, in my opinion. Like outbound sales sucks. And so I hear it all the time. I hear it like all these sales managers and all these business owners, they tell all their sales teams like, hey, have you got your 50 cold calls in today? Let me see how many cold calls you did. Oh, what's in your pipeline? Because I see this all the time. Even in the corporate world, I know someone who does sales, corporate sales, and all their sales manager tells them is, hey, how many people you got in your pipeline? They say, oh, you know, I'm trying to get in this one big company, and then they just say, well, just cold call the CTO. I'm like, that's like the worst way to get a sale, and like that's really hard. And so I want to talk about how can you get more inbound sales, and that is 100% branding. And branding is going to set yourself apart from everybody else because brand always wins. So in this video, we're going to make one assumption here. The assumption is that you offer outstanding service. So to me, yeah, I can make an argument that's part of branding, but like honestly, you just need, by default, you need to be offering outstanding service. So we will just make that assumption for the rest of this video. So just assume, I'm going to assume that that's what you do because you should be doing that anyway. And if you're not, you need to leave. All right, guys, so in this video, I'm gonna go over the 6 parts of the Kick-Ass brand formula. Good name, right? Part number 1 of the Kick-Ass brand formula is you need to have a kick-ass logo. I don't know how many times, there's so many times where I come across a business where they've done their own logo, like in Microsoft Paint, or worse, Microsoft Word, or they paid some idiot on Fiverr, you know, who like is over in some other third world country and they paid $5 for it. Nothing against Fiverr. I love Fiverr. I use it for certain things, but I would never, ever use it for logo. You need to have a very, very kick-ass logo. And what I mean by kick-ass, I mean custom to you, that fits your target audience, your ideal client, that speaks to them, right? It fits their personality. Like if my target audience is women, I would not have a bunch of hard edges and a bunch of like bold, black, dark colors. I would have soft edges, curved edges. I would have pastels. So like you gotta have a really kick-ass logo to be like, it's gotta be rememberable, right? Have you ever done those, this is what I strive to achieve with my logo. Have you ever done those little quizzes where it's like, can you guess the name of the company just by looking at the logo? And it's a quiz, right? It's like, how many can you get out of 100? And so like, there's always those ones that you just know, like Nike. Nike's the only one that has the swoosh, like the Nike check. Like that's highly recognizable. And it doesn't say Nike anywhere on the logo, right? And so that's what you want to achieve with your logo over time. And so you need to have a really kick-ass logo to be able to do that. Okay, so the second part of this kick-ass brand formula is you gotta have a kick-ass icon. And so that is separate from your logo. An icon is a symbol. So a full logo is probably going to have like your name typically, but like an icon is going to be a symbol of your brand. So you see it. So for example, this is my icon. Is it in focus? So nowhere does it say Dripify on this. It's just a D. It's an icon. So I use that icon everywhere. There are certain points where you can use your icon where it's much easier and it's better to apply an icon versus a full logo. All right, the third part of this kick-ass brand formula is you gotta have a brand guide. What is that? A brand guide is not only your logo and your icon, but it is what colors you use, what fonts you use. And you need to use the fonts and the colors congruent across the board. You gotta use your fonts and your colors everywhere, which brings me to point number 4 is congruency. You gotta be congruent. It has to be the same across everywhere you use your brand, your website, your brochures, your flyers, your business card, your social media, all your profiles, everywhere. It has to have the same fonts, the same colors, the same icon, the same logo. I don't know, like there's so many, I can't count how many times I come across a business and they use even different logos on different things, and I'm like, who the hell are you? The fifth part of this kick-ass brand formula is you gotta know who your target market and ideal client is. So because all of your logo, your branding, your colors, your fonts, everything relies on who you're trying to target. Again, if you're going after females or women, you gotta have soft edges, you gotta have lighter colors. If you're going after your sports people, you're gonna probably have more high contrast, darker colors. And so this all depends on who you are targeting, because you gotta figure that out before you figure out the rest. Otherwise, everything else is just gonna suck. The sixth and final part of this kick-ass brand formula is you gotta know your brand personality. This is one that everybody always looks over, is you gotta have personality, you gotta have a brand voice. So if you look at Dripify and me, I'm very direct, very blunt, very facetious. That is my brand personality. But you don't have to be that way. That doesn't mean that's the right way or the wrong way. You got what's your personality? What you don't want to do is you don't want to be a robotic personality. Nobody wants to deal and do business with a robot. And so they want to do business with you. They want to do business with a human. It's human to human interaction. So fucking act human. All right, so to close, if you do those 6 things, logo, icon, target market, congruency, brand guide, and voice personality, then you will have a kick-ass brand and you will stand out in front of everybody else.